Okay, so we are live now
Hey
with
guys.
Larry Kim, who will share with us the top 10 Facebook Messenger and chatbot marketing hacks of all time. You may begin now.
Awesome. And thanks for joining us live on the SEO conference. Today I'm going to just be sharing with you some of my top 10 tips for building Facebook Messenger chatbots. Let's share my screen here. Just a moment. Your entire screen. Can you see my screen
Yes,
there?
let me see it.
Awesome. So I just wanted to talk about our top 10 chatbot marketing hacks of all time, specifically anything you ever needed to know about Facebook Messenger marketing. Um, on the agenda today, we're talking about why you should care, some basic building blocks on how to create them, as well as my tips and tricks for how to create the best chatbots ever. Um, Before getting into all the details about this, uh, the tactics, I just wanted to introduce myself briefly. My name is Larry Kim. I'm slightly obsessed with unicorns. I was very interested in unicorns way before they became popular. I live in Harvard Square in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And that is a very famous town because that is where Facebook was founded. It's also where Microsoft was founded. It's also where I started my own business called WordStream about a decade ago in a bakery called Panera Bread because it had free Wi-Fi and free rent. The company grew a lot over the last decade. It is now over. It is over 400 people in Boston, managing approximately $1 billion of ad spend for tens of thousands of customers worldwide. As for me, I left my day job there a year ago to start a new business in the Facebook Messenger marketing space. It's called Mobile Monkey, and it is the world's leading Facebook Messenger marketing platform. And also, WordStream was acquired by Gannett 2 weeks ago for $150 million. So the last thing I'll say about myself is I am, I'm a dad. I have 2 kids, and yeah, that's all about me. In terms of our presentation, let's get back to our story here. Specifically, let's talk about why should people care about chatbots. Well, I'll give you 2 reasons. Reason number one, there are more daily active users of messaging applications than there are of social media. However, less than 1% of businesses have any ability to engage with customers via messaging. So that's crazy. So what we believe is that in the next couple years, 3 or 4 years, that at least 30 or 40 million companies will have the ability to do this. So I think that's a big deal. In terms of which messaging platform to choose, it's kind of easy choice. The reason is because most messaging applications do not have APIs. So Facebook Messenger has an open API. Um, Snapchat does not, WhatsApp does not, Google Hangouts does not. So really, there's only one choice. You can choose Facebook Messenger. All these other products like Skype and Kik and Line, they kind of don't have enough users to be worthwhile. As for Facebook Messenger, there's over 1.3 billion users of the platform, and it's growing very quickly. I expect this to hit 2 billion users by the end of this year. In terms of the reason number two why you should care about Facebook Messenger marketing using chatbots has to do with engagement rates. So the engagement rates on Facebook Messenger are 10 to 80 times better than the engagement rates that you would see on email or on Facebook organic newsfeed. As you know, email open rates have fallen considerably over the last decade to the point where 5 to 10% open rate is considered pretty good. The organic post visibility on Facebook is typically between 0 and 1% of your fans will actually see your content. Conversely, on Facebook Messenger, typically you get around a 70 or 80% open rate within the first 60 minutes. Chats aren't new. They've been around for 20 years at least. But chatbots are very interesting because you don't need to have someone at your company staffing the chatbot, so they work automatically. Also, you can the customer doesn't have to wait for an operator. So that's another benefit. And finally, chatbots are really great at converting users and qualifying users, much better than landing pages. In fact, the typical conversion rate for a mobile landing page is around 1 to 2%, but the typical conversion rates for chatbots on Facebook Messenger is 100%. And the reason is because everyone who engages with your chatbot is opting into messaging and is providing you with their contact information. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about chatbot basics. Talk a little about how, what are the building blocks of building chat applications. So when people talk about building a chatbot, people think, oh, you're trying to build like a Siri or Google Home or Alexa, and actually, you can definitely do that. But the use case that I'm most interested in with chatbots is actually chat blasting. So kind of like email blasting. There's many different things you can do with chatbots. I'm really excited about chat blasting because it's kind of like doing social media or kind of like doing email blasting, except that instead of having a 0% engagement rate or a 10% open rate, you can get 70 or 80% open rates using the chat platform people already have. And it's very mobile friendly, and most people already have this, like 1.3 billion daily active users. And so just to make sure we're all on the same page, this is sort of an example of an automated chatbot. It is not a human operator that is talking. It is a robot that we have programmed, and in this case, it's kind of like a alternative form of a landing page that is taking place via Facebook Messenger. So there's a couple ways you can build these experiences. One of them is you can just use the Facebook Messenger APIs, which are these things that you can do coding. Unfortunately, most marketers don't know how to do software engineering, or maybe those that do, maybe they don't have the time for this. And so what people typically do is they use a visual chatbot builder like MobileMonkey. Okay, so MobileMonkey is a way of creating chatbots without having to write any code. And we have a very strong user interface, just like how Wix or WordPress allows you to create blog posts without having to code. This is the same idea. So in terms of how do you create these chatbots, well, basically, you know how in HTML there's like different elements like content, like paragraphs and forms and lists and images and videos. It's the same idea in chat, except that the layout is a lot more simple. All we're doing here is we're just inserting images and content into something called these building blocks. We're just taking these chat building blocks and assembling them together into things called chat pages. So a chat pages is simply a grouping of one or more chat widgets that in sequence. And so typically, just give you a simple example of creating a chat page. This is you would combine some text or some image, for example, a webinar sign up page, and then you could then send this to users on Messenger. And that's what that would look like in Messenger. It's a very simple layout because everything is sort of serialized. It's one on top of each other. And in terms of like the that's kind of an example of static content. The question is, how do you make it work more dynamically? So for example, how would we get the information from the user, like their name and their email address and their phone number, to register for this webinar? Well, there's a couple dynamic elements that we have here. One is called the form, and another one is called a quick question. They're basically the same thing. A quick question is just asking the user one question, like, do you like, what's your favorite color, red, blue, or green? That's a quick question. The other idea is a form, and that's where you ask multiple questions in a sequence. Okay, so what we could do is we could add a form element or several quick questions to this chat page, which would then allow us to create a dynamic back and forth between the user, in order to get their contact information and other preferences. Of course, you can save all of the information that you receive from the chatbot, just like how in HTML you can save all the variables that are being sent from the users. Just a couple other things I wanted to point out. Videos are a fantastic element for chat because, think about chat. You're on the go. You don't have time to read all this stuff, and videos can convey a lot of information in just a few seconds. Another thing that is very common is sending of attachments. So like PDFs or ebooks or gift cards, rather than sending like links to websites, which is a very bad experience because you have to like open them in mobile browsers. You might as well just send them directly via chat. In terms of the different types of navigation experiences, think about like in your website how you have like the main menus and navigation pages. In chatbots, there's two ways to get around. One way is to use something called a button-based navigation system. So that's where you just create a lot of menus with links to other chat pages in your chatbot. So for example, choose from an option below, about Larry, contact Larry, or get directions to my office. So that's a menu-driven system. And alternatively, a more advanced way of doing it is just to rely exclusively on natural language processing. Natural language processing is more of an open. It's kind of more like Siri or Google Home or Alexa, where you can ask it anything and it will respond. Basically, I think that the way that you do this is that whenever you're creating content in your chatbot in MobileMonkey, what you do is you just assign keywords to the content of your pages. So if you can just describe the contents of your pages a little bit, these are different keywords, then if the user asks for a certain question, then the chatbot can analyze the intent of what the heck the user is asking for, and then can serve the correct content corresponding to the question that they're asking. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like how in Google AdWords you specify a bunch of keywords which trigger ads. Well, here what we're doing is we're specifying content and keywords for those contents which get triggered by users' queries. Of course, it's very difficult to anticipate all of the different questions that a user is going to ask your business. However, we know that most of the time people tend to ask the same questions over and over again. So what you can do is periodically review all the unanswered questions from your business, and then create new content to answer those questions. So over time, it becomes very valuable because you're basically creating a database of all the answers for all the questions that people ask of your business, so that you don't have to keep answering them over and over again. So those are some of my basic, tips on kind of how you build this stuff. I wanted to give you a couple of real examples of building real chatbots. So here's the rules of engagement. You can chat blast anyone who messages your Facebook page. So if you're on the live stream right now, just go to https://facebook.com/ws.larrykim, and if you send me a message, what you're actually doing is, well, first of all, you'll be able to see my little chatbot that I've created there, but also you're going to opt into messages from me. You're opting into receiving messages. So that's the key thing with Facebook Messenger blasting, is that you can only blast messages, chat blasts, to people who have subscribed to your page. Okay, and so basically, there's this thing here where if someone messages your page, you get their contact information. So that'll show up in MobileMonkey under the contact information. So we'll get their name, And once we've obtained their permission for chat, you can do chat blasting. So I can send all this information to all these people. So there's two ways of doing chat blasting. You can do a scheduled blast, or you can do blasting of chat stuff immediately. And I just want to give you an example of what that looks like. So this was just a new blog post announcement, which I blasted to Neil Patel, who is a marketer. And I just said, hey, Neil, we've got a new blog post. You can read more about it. And he actually read it, because I know he read it because his avatar is at the bottom there. Okay. And so there's a couple rules. You can't just keep blasting them forever. There's a couple rules. Rule number one, you must honor all unsubscribes. So if the user types either stop or unsubscribe, Mobile Monkey will allow them to unsubscribe from receiving messages from you, and you are then prohibited from getting chat blasts from them. In terms of, there's another interesting restriction on chat blasting. It has to do with the messaging in the content itself. So what Facebook says is that you can send non-promotional stuff. So for example, shipping confirmations or blog content. You can send non-promotional stuff. However, there is a limit on how much promotional content that you can say. And just to give you an example of what exactly is a promotional tweet, sorry, not a tweet, a message. This is the example being given by Facebook. Super Monday deals: eat one beef burger, get another one free. Discount code BG542. So the idea here is that basically, when someone messages your bot, you have 24 hours to send as many messages as you want to those users. They can be promotional or non-promotional, but you have the right to send them as many messages as you want within the first 24 hours. That could be because you're engaging with them in a conversation. So that initial conversation, there could be a lot of back and forth. After the initial 24 hours, you can send one additional promotional piece. After the 24-hour time has expired. However, there is no limit to how many promotional non-promotional messages that you can send. And so every time the user messages you back, like if you send them a non-promotional message, like here's a new blog post, if they message you back, then the clock resets, allowing you permission to blast them again, both a promotional piece within the first 24 hours as well as one additional one later. And so basically the tip is, if you need to send out promotional content, send out non-promotional content that provokes responses. Like, do you like puppies? Yes. If they do, respond to that by clicking yes. They've re-opted in for promotional content. There's another, so it's kind of a loophole. There's like unlimited non-promotional messages, like blog posts, shipping updates, event reminders, etc. That's called subscription messaging, and you can just apply for subscription messaging in the Google, in the Facebook Business Manager. Okay. There's a couple other tips and tricks in Mobile Monkey on how to build a subscriber list. So they don't have to just message your page, because maybe you don't get a lot of messages on your page. The question is, how do you get millions of subscribers? And basically, what Mobile Monkey does is we provide something called a checkbox plugin. It's an opt-in button to allow all website contacts to opt in to additional to Messenger updates, and if they do this, they will be on your Messenger contact list. So, for example, if you have a webinar pop-up, like a pop-up on your site that's asking people to register for a webinar, of course, why not also ask them for permission to send them content, not just on email, but also on Messenger. And by the way, I'm not advocating that you don't do email. I'm just saying, if you're doing email marketing, why wouldn't you also do Messenger marketing? Because Messenger marketing has so much more engagement. In terms of how you do this, Mobile Monkey makes it very simple. You just take and copy and paste code from our application and put it into the forms on your website. I wanted to give you another example of a way of generating a lot of contacts, and that is to attach autoresponders to your Facebook posts. So if people who comment uh, on your posts, you can send them an autoresponder via Facebook Messenger. And if you would like to try this out yourself, just go to bit.ly/fb-post-guard. A Facebook post guard is just that. It's an automated response to anyone who leaves a message on one or more posts, and you can customize the message. Either you could have a catch-all, which is for anyone who messages your page, any of the posts, or you can make a custom responses for every post, and so that's really easy to do. Another thing that I do is I create links to my Facebook Messenger chatbot. I can give you an example of that. Well, yeah, it's basically in all my newsletters at the bottom. I say, sign up to get Facebook Messenger marketing news and tips via Facebook Messenger. We also put a chat widget on our website, this thing here, the pop-up chat. And this is a really great way to get more subscribers, because then anyone who messages your page via this chat widget will be added to your contact list. Lastly, there's a new format called send to messenger ads. And basically, on Facebook ads, most people usually spend a lot of time and energy on traffic and engagement ads, and I think those are kind of a waste of money. Where I would be spending money is on Facebook Messenger campaigns, and essentially send to messenger ads, which are very interesting, because anyone who uses this will generate 100% conversion rate, because anyone who sends a message to this bot will receive will opt into messaging, and I will have their contact information. And there's a sponsored message ad format, which is where you take all of the people on your messenger chat contact list, and you can segment them. So say I only want the people who live in Boston, or who like unicorns. Just you can apply the demographic filters, and then pay for a sponsored blast to all those users. So I think it's very interesting. Lastly, I'll say is we support something called a live operator takeover. So the chatbot can automatically respond to users, but if you decide to then jump in on a conversation in Business Manager, you can just start talking to the user, and then answering their questions manually, and then going back to turn the bot back on after you're done talking. You just type /return, and the bot will take over. So guys, in summary, we've been talking about chatbots today. I wanted to kind of summarize what we're talking about. Chatbots are really great, not just for there's a lot of press around chatbots for personal assistance, like Siri and Google Home. But I think marketers should be more interested in chatbots from the perspective of marketing automation. So it provides a way to, qualify, convert, and nurture users in a platform that is more engaging and more dynamic. That an entire generation of people are using this chat, and in the olden days, people used to use desktop and send out emails. Today, the new way of doing it is just capture people's chat permissions and automatically engage via the chatbot. So those are my top chatbot building hacks today. We talked about how you can build a Q&A bot to answer questions. We talked about chat blastings, and how to build your contact lists, and how to use Facebook ads, and how to do a live operator takeover. These are all great use cases of chatbots for marketers. And what does it all mean? I think it's crazy, because right now, less than 1% of businesses are using chatbots for their business. But I think in 2 or 3 years from now, companies will be, it'll become one of the most popular ways of engaging users, just like email or social media was back 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. the key here is that you need to get in early because the companies that started doing social media marketing way back in 2006 or 2005, they received so much benefit. If you try to do social media marketing today, it's just so hard because everyone's already done it. It's not new. So give it a try this year, and I think that would be very interesting. I'm just going to turn off the screen share and just ask our host here if there was any other questions that came in during our live stream.
Yeah, there's only one question. It's about Cosmic Carrot, that is about GDPR. I'm assuming you need to put the details of how user gives their consent in your privacy policy.
That's right. So think of a chatbot or mobile monkey as like a website. Okay, so it's not the job of Facebook or of mobile monkey to create your privacy policy for you. You still have to create your own privacy policy, and you still have to then build your chatbot to adhere to all of the privacy concerns that you've addressed. So, for example, if people say they want to delete their contact information, that's fine. You can have them request that you delete their contact information, and you can manually delete that, the conversation history, and as well as as well as the contact information. We also keep track of consent, so like what day, time, device, IP address, like how did we receive the consent in the first place, and that information is available for marketers to send to their customers if they are requesting information on how that consent was obtained. So overall, it's kind of like a content building platform that you have to use to adhere to the rules and regulations that are in place, as they vary from different countries. Like Europe or United States have different regulations, so you have to adhere to those things.
Okay, so that would be all. Thank you for sharing today with us.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Okay.